Hi! So this is my book review of Bloodlines, the first book in the Bloodlines series, which is the spin-off series to Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead. Now, I do not like talking to the camera, and so I am not going to do it, because I do not believe in improving myself. And instead of getting to watch this stunning face, you will get to see me draw fan art of the main character of this series and this book. Yeah. I hope you will enjoy! The protagonist of this book is Sydney Sage. She was a minor character in the original series, who after helping Rose in The Last Sacrifice, has gotten into trouble with her organization, the Alchemists. If you don't remember from the original series, or if you just want to read this one, which you can if you don't mind getting spoilers for Vampire Academy, the Alchemists are basically a human organization dedicated to keeping the vampire world hidden from humans. They have very strong views on vampires, which is important for the story. Because Sydney helped a half-vampire, Dompier, she has been put on probation and lives in fear that her organization will haul her off to re-education, where alchemists who get too close to vampires go to learn the error of their ways. Sydney is terrified of going there. So when she's woken up in the middle of the night, she is, to put it lightly, very nervous. But it turns out she is needed for a mission. Jill Mestrano Dragomir has survived an assassination attempt and needs to go into hiding. Context from the last book in Vampire Academy is that Vasilisa Dragomir became queen of the Moroi, but couldn't originally be under consideration because there are some law that says she needs one living family member, and for the longest time she believed that everyone in her family was wiped out in a car crash, except her, but it turned out that her father had an affair with another vampire, and she now has a half-sister, and that half-sister needs to stay alive if she wants to keep her throne. Because of that, Jill became a target for Lissa's political enemies, because they realized that killing her little sister was easier than killing her, and she would no longer be queen, regardless of which one of them died. So Jill then has to go into hiding in a human school, and Sydney is needed to play her older sister and keep everything going smoothly. The conflicts in this book is mainly made up of typical high school drama, a mysterious tattoo epidemic, abnormal Strigoi killings, and Sydney trying to keep her real sister from becoming an alchemist and be sent to work with a guy who did something awful to her other sister. The characters you'll recognize from the original series in this book are, briefly, Rose, Dimitri, and Abe Mazur, frequently, Sydney Sage, Eddie Castile, Jill Mestrano, and my all-time favorite fictional character, Adrian Ivashkov. And when I say favorite fictional characters, I don't mean within this universe. I mean period. He is my favorite character above Katniss, Hermione, Percy Jackson, Riskin, Lady Katza. Yeah, I just love him the most of anyone. And the reason I do that is because I relate so strongly to his mental health issues. And yeah, there is no character like Adrian Ivashkov in existence. He is unique. Unique and wonderful and perfect. Adrian was, of course, my favorite character from Vampire Academy. And then he was a minor character. So imagine my excitement when I found out that he was the second most important character in a whole new series within that universe. That's not an experience you get often. The only other time I've experienced that was the whole Caravel series, where my favorite minor character was Jax, and he just gets to be the second most important character in a 3-book series that's just a spin-off, and that is just something amazing. I don't think I'll ever get an experience like this again. It was... Yeah, the reason I love the series so much is strongly because of Adrian, but also strongly because of Sydney. Because her I relate to in a different way, but also she's just amazing. She's so smart, and I just really relate to her being a student and just answering all the questions in class and being great at PE. And it was honestly a bit of a fantasy for me, escapism, because she still managed to do all those things and be all those things while having friends, something I struggled with immensely. So that's wonderful, really. Now, I really love this book, but to be completely honest, this isn't the best of books, and it's pretty weak within the Vampire Academy and Bloodlines series as a whole. The writing is very fun, but if you are coming straight from Vampire Academy, you will find it a bit slow and a bit short on action. But just know that if you stay with the series, you will be rewarded with book 2 and 3, which are amazing. Some of my most favorite books ever written. This is where the spoiler-free part of this video ends, and now I will talk freely about everything I loved about it, and one thing I had a problem with. Firstly, Sydney is such a badass. Her sister gets raped and begs her not to tell their parents, so instead she makes a bargain with the vampire mafia to mutilate the guy and tear out one of his eyes. Speaking of Abe Mazur, he is brilliant as usual and steals every scene he's in. I wish he had more space, but I'm still happy with everything I can get. Adrian is still heartbroken from Rose. He's depressed, and he is self-medicating with alcohol as usual. One of the things I've always loved about Richelle Mead is how she writes mental health problems. I've always related to the characters with spirit magic, and to Dimitri after he was turned back human, and all the guilt he felt about the things he did while being Strigoi. That really reminded me of just coming down from mania and just looking at all the harm you've caused to the people around you, and how he didn't even want to be near Rose because how guilty he felt after what he did to her. And that is accurate as hell. I don't think she was going for bipolar disorder with Dimitri, like at all, but I still relate to that extreme guilt after being in a state you had no control over your own actions in. So, yeah, I always appreciate that. And of course, Adrian having bipolar disorder, he is the one I relate to the most. One thing I really like about Sydney Sage is how smart she is. She is both book smart and street smart. She knows exactly what to say to get things done. I really liked that although she is mainly smart, she is also not incompetent at sports and more athletic things. She's pretty good in PE, and when they go on a mini golf outing, she just crushes everyone else because she calculates how the ball is going to go. And I just really like when smart characters don't have to be so bad at physical things too. Now, like I've said, I really like this book, but one big problem I have with it is the romance between 15-year-old Jill and a guy they first think is 19, but later finds out he's 34. And seriously, when they start dating, or when, Sydney and Adrian and those just kind of sets up Jill with this guy, and no one think that age difference is a problem. I know I shouldn't expect more from the author who paired up a 17-year-old with a 24-year-old, but at least that was legal in the state they were in. Jill is under the age of consent in all of the United States. How the fuck did no one see a problem with a grown adult man dating a child? Sure, they didn't know he was 34 until right at the end, but 15-year-olds should not date 19-year-olds. A 4-year-old age difference is a lot at that age. And I cannot understand how a character like Sydney didn't flag that as a problem. How her bodyguard, Eddie, didn't flag that age difference as a problem. I mean, yeah, I find that weird and a bit disturbing, because at that point, it kind of suggests that the author has no problem with those things either. That it's not just this is just for the book. It's kind of, when you don't criticize that thing, or have no one raise a problem with that, it kind of suggests that you don't think there is a problem with that. And there is. But that's really the only problem I have with the book. It's one of my favorite series to reread, and I do really like it. Yeah, that's it. Have a nice day.